Grandma's royal blessings. Princess Leonor cherished with ancestral gifts from Christian's family. In the heart of Spain, a princess rises. She is young, she is graceful, she is expected to lead. But just when the world thought they knew her story, an unexpected blessing arrived. Not from her father, not from her mother, but from the grandmother of the young man whispered to hold her heart. A royal blessing, wrapped in ancestral gifts. Why would Princess Leonor, heir to the Spanish throne, receive such treasures from Christian's family? Why now? And why in such a deeply symbolic way? The answer lies in a story that stretches across borders, across centuries, across family ties bound by love and tested by tradition. At the center, Leonor, Spain's crown jewel. Christian, Denmark's quietly determined prince. And between them, two families, carrying centuries of expectations, legacy, and power. But first, the gifts. When a grandmother bestows blessings, it is never random. It is never shallow. For royals, every object, every jewel, every book, every embroidery carries history. They are relics of lineage. Whispers of identity. Weapons of influence. The moment Leonor received them, the palace halls seemed to shift. A message was being sent. A story was being written. But what were these gifts? And why would Christian's family, particularly his grandmother, choose to share them now? The first gift was a necklace, simple at first glance, but its history older than Leonor herself. It once belonged to Christian's great-grandmother, a piece worn in private family ceremonies, never displayed, but always remembered. Passing it on to Leonor was more than an offering. It was a signal. She was not just a guest to their family circle. She was being pulled in. The second gift was less expected, a handwritten letter bound in soft leather, sealed with wax. Its contents, a blessing, a wish, a vow that love, when honored with dignity, surpasses politics, surpasses distance, surpasses throne and duty. And the third, an embroidered shawl, handwoven decades ago by women in Christian's family, each stitch carrying patterns meant to guard, to protect, to shelter the one who wears it. Leonor held it, and witnesses say she did not speak. She simply pressed it to her heart. But this is not just about the gifts themselves. This is about what they mean. Why would a grandmother, seasoned by age, tempered by royal storms, decide to step forward now? To answer, we must look back. Royal families live under constant watch. They smile when ordered, bow when expected, marry when chosen. But the whispers of true affection, the hidden gestures of love, often slip through in private. Leonor and Christian's story, still young, is not just about romance. It is about two houses learning to bridge differences. For Spain, Leonor represents continuity, the promise of monarchy surviving into the future. For Denmark, Christian carries the quiet legacy of a dynasty that has weathered centuries. Both are heirs. Both are watched. Both are weighed. But behind closed doors, families are still families. And grandmothers know what mothers and fathers sometimes forget: love needs shelter. Love needs recognition. Love needs a blessing. The palace corridors echo with rules. No public acknowledgement. No rushed declarations. No bending of tradition. Yet, in gifting Leonor these ancestral pieces, Christian's grandmother carved a silent exception. She said without words, "We see you. We accept you. We welcome you." And Leonor, how did she respond? Witnesses describe her as radiant. She smiled faintly, as though carrying a secret too heavy for words. She bowed her head slightly, kissed the elder's hand, and whispered something too soft to be heard. But her eyes told the story. Gratitude, relief, and the weight of knowing this was no ordinary exchange. Was this the first step toward something larger? Engagement whispers already swirl in Spain and Denmark alike. Commentators say this act was not casual, it was a prelude. For when an heir receives not just affection but ancestral gifts, it signals something irreversible. But let us pause. Could it also mean pressure? Royal blessings are double-edged. They warm the heart, but they also bind the soul. By accepting, Leonor steps deeper into an unspoken contract. One that says she is not just Leonor of Spain, but Leonor, bound to Denmark's future king. Will her parents, King Felipe and Queen Letizia, accept this? Will Spain's court, protective of its heir, welcome such foreign influence? And what of the Danish crown itself, Does every member agree with the grandmother's bold gesture, or are tensions quietly brewing behind gilded doors? History teaches us that royal marriages are rarely just about love. They are about power, about alliance, about survival. Yet, history also shows us that sometimes, rarely, love breaks through. Perhaps that is why the gifts matter so deeply. They are not just jewels, letters, or cloth. They are symbols of trust. They are bridges between nations. They are whispers of a future that might rewrite history. As Leonor tucked them away, she must have known, her life was no longer just her own. Every gesture, every choice, every glance toward Christian would ripple beyond her. Yet, in that quiet moment, with a grandmother's hand resting on hers, she was not a princess. Not an heir, she was a young woman, loved, cherished, and blessed. And maybe that is the truest royal gift of all. Because while crowns weigh heavy, blessings lift. While politics divide, love unites. And while the world watches, sometimes it is in the smallest, most private exchanges that destinies are sealed. So the question remains, are we watching the beginning of Europe's next great royal love story? Or are we witnessing a carefully woven alliance disguised as romance? Only time will tell. But one truth cannot be denied, Princess Leonor has been marked. Not by decree, not by treaty, but by love, by blessing, by the ancestral gifts of a grandmother who dared to act before the world was ready. And for Leonor, for Christian, and for two nations on the edge of a new chapter that may change everything.